two, one. Love Talk Radio.
Here we are again. This is Tuesday, and I love Tuesdays because Tuesdays are dedicated to the time that I get to bring to you somebody who's very special to me. And actually, she's special to a whole lot of people. This is Tessa Greenspan here. Good morning, Tessa. How are you?
Good morning. I am wonderful. Thank you.
You always are. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this series of shows with Tessa, because for as long as I've known her, which has been a long time, we're in the double-digit years, and proudly, Tessa has a sparkle about her and a sparkling attitude, and you would think that maybe she's never known a moment of agony in her life. But that's just absolutely not true. And these conversations are about learning the wisdom, the insight, the practices, the strategies, her experiences of going from the outhouse to the penthouse, which is the name of her book. And if you're watching us on the YouTube channel, then you can see that visually. And if you're on Blog Talk Radio listening, well, you're hearing about it, and you can go to Amazon and put in the search bar Tessa Greenspan, and her book, Outhouse to Penthouse, will come up for you. Great read, great stories. So this morning, I just want to remind everybody, this is the K factor, where K equals kindness, and the factors are all the things that lead to it. And I'm your host, Dr. Deb Carlin. And I decided in the middle of this 2020 reality we're in, I was losing track of the days. What day is it? What's going on? What am I to do today? And I found out that I wasn't alone in that. People are suffering all over the place with this, and it causes a little bit of tension and anxiety and strife, like in the midst of everything else. Am I losing my mind? So I thought, no, we're not losing our minds, but we need grounding. We need foundational. And so I thought, if I come on the air every day and entitle each day something and bring somebody who's really wonderful on the air with me, selfishly, it's really healthy for me and uplifting and grounding. And for my guest, I'm trying to make it the same. So Tessa is my co-host here on Tuesdays with Tessa. So that's who we are, and that's why we're here. So what is this, our third or fourth episode?
What?
This is our third or fourth episode.
Third,
And so we're getting our sea legs, as they say. But the biggest plus that we have is that we're having fun with this, and we're inviting you to be here and have fun with it too. And just learn the kinds of things that we've experienced professionally and personally, and we're both lifelong learners, and so we're always searching for solutions to whatever it is that's going on that's an issue or trouble for us. And today, Tessa and I had talked about this last week. People are anxious and fearful and uncomfortable in 1,000 different ways right now. And what is it that we do about that? And so we were talking about, what do we do about that? Tessa, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, there are several things that I would really like to share that work. And this is not because I said it. Everything that I'm going to say has been researched, and there you can find it. It's not just me saying it.
Okay.
One of the most important things that I think is every single day meditate. You can find meditations on YouTube, but start your day off with that. I would also, before you go to get up in the morning, think of things that you have to look forward to and that you're grateful for. Just think. Then I would suggest that you meditate for 15 minutes. And then write down, I do this anyway, things that you have to be thankful and grateful for. Because the more you write this and the more you say what you're thankful and grateful for, the more will come to you of what to be thankful and grateful for. Another thing, if a person is in high stress, or if they are anxious or whatever, one really great trick is holding your nose. to the count of 4, breathe in, hold it, and then blow it out. Do this 3 times. That will change your psychic at that moment. It really works. And it's not me saying this, psychologists have done this. By the way, I will say that Stanford, University of California, many prestigious colleges have now started with a mindfulness and meditation classes. Or they started with attorneys because they have a lot of stress. So this is not something that I'm saying to you. This has been documented, and there are even classes at some of the most prestigious universities there are. So there is also a magazine called Mindful. So there's many things, but so it's really important to start taking care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Yes. So there are many ways to do this. And I tell everyone, get a pet, get a dog who loves you unconditionally. So again, I'm telling you things that can reduce your stress and your high blood pressure and the anxiety, because they're so happy to see you. And it really, that too, or a cat, that too has shown to lower your blood pressure. So there are several things, and I really enjoy learning and really passing it on as far as what. And it's something that I use also. So those are several of the things that I feel are very, very helpful. Try it. I say to anybody, just try it. Try it for a month and you'll see that it works.
Right.
But you can't do something just once and expect for your life to change. Just like positivity is a lifelong learning and growing and doing these different processes. So it's really, just to do it one time, you can test it, but unless you commit to doing it at least for 30 days and then 60 days, it's not going to make a long-term positivity thing for you.
Yeah, right. If we could just exercise that one time and have the perfect body, everybody would be thrilled, and we would all we would all be really happy with that. I remember when I was a runner, my running partner and I used to say, okay, that was 7.5 miles. If we never had to do it again, even though we get the endorphin high, wouldn't that be spectacular? And laughed about it. But it's interesting. Mind-body medicine is a very credible science. And I've talked a lot about Dr. Herbert Benson, cardiologist out of Harvard, who I studied with and actually did my master's research with. And he is a cardiologist who was really very dedicated to his patients and very concerned after he had gotten them through a heart attack, gotten them through high blood pressure, that they were repeat customers. And so he dedicated himself more than half a century ago to finding what is it that's going to make the real difference. So in his research, what he found was the yogis living in the Tibetan mountains didn't have this problem. They were the one part of the world where people didn't have an incidence of coronary disease. So he went there and he studied with them and he thought, well, this is fabulous, but if I bring this back to America, I bring this back to Harvard, they're going to lynch me. No one will want to have anything to do with me. They'll think I'm an old hippie of some sort. So what happened was, through his research and going into the biofeedback labs, which I used to run biofeedback labs, and this was natural for me, he found that he could Americanize the yogi practice of meditation so that it is a very easy exercise for people to do. So you're absolutely right. Meditations are great. There are some that are more scientifically based than others, because still when people are meditating, your mind can start to drift and you've got to pull yourself back in.
It's true.
In the relaxation response exercise, you continue to take the journey through your body, telling each part of your body to relax, listening to the audio or the visual of it. And then when you're through with that journey and you're envisioning your whole body through your mind's eye relaxed, what you do on every exhale is you say the word one, and you focus on, this is one exercise for the one and only me, for my one and only opportunity in this life, for mind body unity. And as you do that, as the thoughts come in your mind, like, well, I wonder if I close the refrigerator door, I wonder if I put that on my shopping list for today, you know, boom, it gets taken out of your mind, because you are on the exhale saying these words. And it's true, if you do it daily, what you're going to find is an impact. And there's a couple things that really help. If you Google on Amazon, if you Google or go to Amazon to get a digit thermometer, it's about 2 inches long. It's on cardboard, and it's a little tiny thermometer with a red liquid in it that you hold between your index finger and your thumb. And as you do the meditation, you take a pre-meditation temperature gauge and you write that number down. When you do the meditation, what you're going to find is that your index fingers, your extremities, your digits, the temperature increases, because as you are effective in your meditation, your vascular system dilates. The blood runs more freely through your body. And as it does, you get a warming sensation in your feet and in your fingers. And that is biological feedback. That's a positive reinforcement for you that you're doing it right. That's really powerful, because you can carry that with you everywhere and anywhere, and train your mind to go to that. The other thing that people really will benefit from doing, you were talking about hypertension and blood pressure. Everyone needs to know how to read their body, and taking your own blood pressure under a standardized procedure is essential. So when you go to the doctor, if you're told that you have high blood pressure, that can really scare you. But you have to make sure that they're taking a baseline reading where you're sitting quietly for 10 minutes.
That's true.
Right? And not going into a waiting room and getting agitated because you're waiting.
Well, and many times, and most times, when you go to the doctor, your blood pressure is raised because of many things, you know. So that's very true. So it really is. And it is good to take it at home. But I don't know that it's necessary to do it all the time if you don't have high blood pressure. I mean, because I think you can tell. But I think that if you do have high blood pressure, it would be good to have a home blood pressure machine.
Yeah. The point about it is it's biological feedback. So it's
Yeah,
a great way to monitor how you're doing.
that's
And when you were talking about the sundry of reasons why people go into the physician office and get a reading of high blood pressure, sometimes it's an artifact, because it's the white coat effect. You go in there, the health professional walks in, and you're immediately scared. Well, that fear is going to elevate your blood pressure. But the beauty of it is that blood pressure is a very fluid number. It's changing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You speak, you cough, you move, you think. That's going to change the pressure of your blood. But the point is, we want to get a good baseline reading to know how hard is your heart working when you are in complete repose. Because if your heart is working hard, then we know with any exertion, you're going to get into a danger zone. So the idea is to really try to maintain yourself. But yeah, you and I both do those practices every single day.
Well, it really is important to find the things that work for you that you can do consistently. Meditation, working at quieting your mind, is probably one of the most beneficial things that you can do. There are other things. I mean, in order to be at peak health, you know, it's the food you eat, it's supplements, it's what you put in your mind is a big, big deal. So it's a combination. It isn't just one thing. Although immediate, if you hold your nose taking the breath and do that for 3 times, counting to 4, that will immediately change how you're feeling at that moment. So there are several other things, and I'm even researching some things to be able to share that can really help people, because fear is another. And by the way, I wanted to talk about fear.
Okay.
Which creates so much anxiety. But fear is, the acronym is false evidence appearing real. It is not what the issue is, it's your thoughts about it.
Right, there you go.
And there are many ways, and sometime I will do a way that you can just keep, how you can change.
Why don't you do it right now?
Well, okay, this is what is proven. This is not what I say. In the book, Psycho-Cybernetics, he says craft. Whenever you're coming up to something that's anxious or fear.
The author says to do an exercise that he calls crafting.
Right. It's
Okay.
CRAFT,
Okay.
one under another. So it really is, though, the first thing you do is you think of the most wonderful experience that you've ever had with the sights, the sounds, the feelings, all of these things that you enjoyed this, and put it at the top of your mind.
Okay.
Just have it there so that you can just switch to it. When the other thing is to be aware. So when you're aware that this is a stressful situation, then you craft it. So you cancel that situation. Then you focus on this at the top of your mind. Then reframe is, but being aware. So it's CRAFT. So reframe it and go to your positive thing, the sights, the feelings, and all of that, and stay with that.
Right.
Then affirm it. So it's really, you're going back to this constantly. Then you focus on this great experience that you had, and then you train yourself to do it over and over again. Now, this has worked for millions of people.
Sure.
Once they know that, it's crafted. So cancel, and then you replace it. But it's really important to have, for many situations, and even if you don't craft it, it really is important to have this phenomenal situation, maybe a grandchild or a child or something that was so much fun, so great. It could be at the ocean where the tide comes in and out, whatever it is. But when it was a highlight of your life, important for you to have that, because it really can, if you work at that enough, it can make a major difference to rewire your brain.
Absolutely.
If you do it enough. So whatever we do, I would suggest that you commit. You choose which one. I'm telling the audience now. You choose which situation or which process will help you the most, and try it for 30 days. I think you'll see a major, not I think, if you do it consistently for 30 days, you will see a difference in your stress level and how to handle it.
So I'll tell you a great story. There is a tremendous body of literature that was created off of research that psychology did post World War II. And we did studies, interviews with people who had survived unbearable circumstances at Auschwitz. And there's one gentleman, his name, I always know his name, and his name escapes me right now, but he was an artist. And he was sentenced for 9 or 10 months to a standing cell. The standing cell was the size of a small outhouse, and he shared that space with 3 other people. They each stood in their own corner, and they were in there. And the first thing that he's thinking is, I am a little bit older. I'm frail. how am I going to survive this? I need to survive this. I want to go home. I want to see my family. I want to live my life. Well, he was an artist. And as he stood there in an absolute panic, in deep fear, just what you're describing, we're talking about, he was leaning up against his corner, and he looked up and he noticed that there was a small hole in the roof of that standing cell. It was just made out of wood. And the hole was maybe 6 by 6 inches or 4 by 4 inches, a little square. And he looked up at the patch of sky, and he went into his mind's eye. Now, this man was an artist, and what he did in his crafting exercise, and he didn't call it that, it was just what he did. He, in his mind's eye, returned himself to his artist studio in his home, and he would go methodically. He would spend hours and hours every day filling his mind with walking, every sensuous experience he would really go into great detail about. And that's what you're describing. Everything that was tactile, everything that was auditory, everything that was olfactory, everything that was visual. And he painted in his mind's eye off of his palette, picking up his favorite brush and dipping it into each oil, and then painting in his mind's eye these scenes. Well, while he was in there, he created hundreds of paintings. And then when he came out and he was restored with his family, they said, "My goodness, how did you survive this?" And he told them he spent the rest of his life then actually remembering every painting and then creating it. And they're shown all over the world.
This
And
is so important.
yes, it is.
Visualization,
Yep.
feeling it, and
Yep.
being aware. And this is really another way
Owning it.
to really to be able to make changes in your life. If before you go to bed, if you put in your mind at nighttime a wonderful experience or whatever that happened to you, you'll rest better, and then you'll get up feeling much better too. But visualization, when you have goals or whenever there's something that you want, it's really important to visualize it with feeling. I love that story, by the way.
It's pretty amazing.
Yes, it is. But visualizing with feeling, with the sights and the sounds, and that man did that.
Yep.
With the sights, the sounds, putting yourself there as if you are there at the moment. This is really, really an important process for people that are listening to do for
Right
their
now.
goals, writing down your goals. When you're anxious, write down even what you're going to do, but then craft it. If you get into the habit of crafting, and you don't even have to go through the whole process, it really is important to have that really great memory at the top of your mind to change when there is something that is uncommon. Now, I'm not saying not to feel. If you have a trauma or something, it's really important to feel the feeling, go through it, then let it go, and then go to your thing. Because if we don't process something, then it's going to be hanging there.
Right. It's really a replacement theory.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is exactly what it is.
It's like a piece of furniture in your living room. It's ugly, it's ripped, it's torn, and the dog peed on it. You can grieve it, but then get rid of it. Process it, and then order the new piece of furniture. Bring it in, yes. Right? And so you're getting rid of the junk, and that really, if you think about it, we have the whole universe in our brain. However,
it's true.
There's only room for so much. And when the stuff that is destructive for you is inhabiting the forefront of your mind, and that's what you're seeing, people get into this trap, don't they, Tessa, where people are saying, well, I can't help it. This is just me. This is how I think. No, darling.
No.
Dear person, this is how you are choosing to think. You are the director and the script writer and the producer.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, you get to write the story. So we're really advising people about how to rewrite the story, even in the moment. So here's something I think of. I think about feeling claustrophobic. I cannot stand the idea of feeling closed in. So let's take a current situation. Even with the masks, I get claustrophobic behind that mask, even for the brief time that I'm out in public. So I have to play a game in my mind that I'm a child again, and it's cold out, and mommy is putting a scarf around my face so that my lips don't freeze.
So that is another way of visualizing. It's changing the thought processes of what you're going through. This is so, so important for everyone. And again, we can give you all of the advice. We can tell you studies. We can do a lot of things. But if a person does not choose to make this difference, then they're going to be a victim all of their lives. And you know, my mother used to say, you can be a victim or a victor.
Yeah,
Which
absolutely.
Mhm.
You know, the other thing is, Tessa, that I love about what it is that we're doing is our episodes, even though they're live. So on Blog Talk Radio, we're live, and people can listen to us right now. These episodes are also uploaded into iTunes, and they're released onto social media. If people just Google Dr. Deb Carlin, Tessa Greenspan, Tuesdays with Tessa, these episodes will come up for them, and they are timeless. And people can come here, especially for the visual part of it through YouTube. I want people to walk into where it is that they find us sitting, see the warmth of our environments, see our friendly faces, and be able to find real comfort here as we're giving them these strategies, these solutions.
I agree. And I would suggest that if something helped you and you feel that it will help another, is to share it. Because we can learn a lot of things, but unless we share it many times, we are depriving someone else from not being able to get the encouragement. And that's my goal in prayer is to encourage, inspire, and help people know that they're enough, they're good enough, and it doesn't matter where you came from. It really is what you choose to do.
Absolutely.
It's all about choice.
Let me go back to the pet thing for a second. So currently, my life is such that I don't have dogs and cats, but I do have a fish in a bowl, a little betta fish. And that little guy brings me tremendous joy. He's just cute. When I walk into the room, he swims to the side of the bowl. And it's hilarious to me how I have a relationship with a fish.
Well, it's your energy, first of all. That is a great example, though, of how it changed your mind. You can walk in and you're looking forward to seeing the fish.
Right, exactly.
And no matter what you've been through at the moment, it is a relaxing thing to be able to watch. So it's what I call props in essence.
Absolutely. Yep.
It is a prop, but the pets, you know, especially dogs, some cats, but especially dogs, they love you unconditionally. In fact, it is said that every time you come back from being gone, it is like the first time they've ever seen you, and they love you so unconditionally. And it doesn't matter what you do to these poor little dogs, they love you unconditionally.
Right.
And this is really what I would encourage other people to work on, loving yourself.
Lovely.
Yourself.
30 seconds.
And by the way, this is a 30-minute episode today, and we're out of time. So loving yourself is how we're going to close this out today. Tessa, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It's always terrific. Friends, I hope you got everything that's going to make you feel less fearful, happier, more joyful inside of yourself today with Tessa Greenspan and me here today. And we look forward to having you come back again and again.
Seconds.
So for today, signing out. Peace out. Have a wonderful day. Tessa, take care.
Thank you. Thank you.